You were never meant to read the parables, you were meant to decode them. Because they were never simple stories, they were activations, hidden codes written for those who were meant to remember. If you're hearing this, something inside you already knows. The lost coin, the prodigal son, the buried treasure, they were never about religion. They were about you. For centuries we've been told the safe version, the Sunday school version, the one that keeps you asleep. But Jesus said, seeing, they do not see. Hearing, they do not hear. The parables were never meant for the crowds. They were designed for the few ready to awaken. Soul codes buried deep within human consciousness, waiting for the right moment to activate. And that moment is now. Because once you see the code, you can't unsee it. Once you remember who you truly are, everything changes. The seed, the treasure, the pearl, they all point to one truth. You are not a being searching for God. You are God remembering itself through you. So if something ancient is stirring within you, if you've always felt there was more hidden behind the words, know this. You didn't find this message by accident. It found you. Stay, listen closely, and let what was once hidden reveal itself. And before we begin, take a moment to subscribe, not for entertainment, but to stay connected to the current of what's awakening. Because what's coming next isn't just revelation, it's activation. You were never meant to read the parables as simple stories. You were meant to decode them, because every word Jesus spoke carried layers, some for the crowds, and others hidden for those ready to awaken. If you are hearing this, something inside you already knows. These aren't just moral lessons or children's tales. They are living messages, invitations to remembrance. The parables were not written to entertain or to teach basic virtue. They were designed to open eyes and hearts, to draw the soul into direct encounter with divine truth. Jesus himself said, "To you it has been given to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it has not been given." Those words weren't exclusion, they were invitation. They tell us that beneath every familiar story lies a deeper call, the call to awaken to who we truly are in the light of God. Every parable is both a mirror and a map. It reflects our current state of heart and consciousness, and at the same time points the way toward transformation. The Sower, for example, isn't only about preaching or conversion. It's about the inner landscape of your soul. Some of that ground is hard and dry, places where disappointment, fear, or resentment have pressed the soil tight. Some ground is shallow, where enthusiasm fades when tested. Some ground is tangled with thorns, where endless busyness, scrolling screens, and worldly worries choke what is sacred. Yet there is always good soil, the humble, open place within you where grace can take root. The sower is Christ, but he is also the divine seed within you, always seeking fertile ground. He keeps sowing even when you fail to listen. That persistence is mercy itself. Every hunger you feel for something real is the seed already sprouting. The moment you turn your attention inward, you begin to cultivate that soil, and in that quiet tending, the kingdom begins to grow. Then comes the woman and the lost coin. On the surface, it's about repentance and divine joy. But deeper still, it is the story of remembrance. The coin was never truly lost. It was simply hidden within the house. The woman lights her lamp and sweeps until she finds it. That lamp is awareness, the light of the soul searching within the rooms of memory and experience. Each time you pray, each time you reflect, each time you question what you've been told, you are sweeping the dust from your own floor. When the coin appears, when you glimpse that you were never separated from God at all, there is rejoicing. The party isn't only in heaven, it's in your heart, where divine love recognizes itself again. What you thought was lost has been shining there all along. The next parable continues that thread. A man finds treasure hidden in a field, sells everything, and buys it. Many sermons say this means heaven is worth every sacrifice. True, but there is more. The treasure represents the discovery of your true self, the image of God in you. The field is your ordinary life, the work, the struggles, the relationships, the mundane days that feel unremarkable. The man doesn't discard the field, he buys it. He embraces his whole experience, understanding that within this very human existence lies the pearl of infinite worth. You are not called to escape your world, but to inhabit it fully, to see God glimmering beneath the dust of daily life. The divine isn't somewhere else. It's buried in the field of your being, waiting to be uncovered. When you start seeing that every wound and trial was preparing you to recognize the treasure, gratitude replaces bitterness. You realize that nothing was wasted. Even pain was part of the map. In that awareness, you stop running from life and start redeeming it. You no longer search for God outside yourself, because you begin to see that the sacred and the human have always been intertwined. This is the hidden pulse of every parable, to awaken remembrance. Jesus didn't hide meaning to keep people out. He veiled it so that those who truly desired truth would seek it with the heart. The surface meaning feeds the mind. The deeper meaning transforms the soul. And now, if you are still listening, perhaps you sense it. The same quiet stirring that moved the woman to search her house. The same joy that made the man sell everything for the field. That stirring is the Spirit whispering that the kingdom isn't far away. It's within you. The mysteries of Christ aren't about unlocking secret codes of divinity buried in DNA. They are about awakening the divine likeness that has been there since creation. In every parable, Jesus gives us the same pattern. Something lost is found. Something hidden is revealed. Something ordinary becomes holy. The seed becomes a harvest. The coin becomes a song of joy. The field becomes a kingdom. These aren't separate stories. They are one great movement. The movement of grace calling you home to yourself in God. And now comes the invitation. Open your heart to see as He sees. Let the familiar words grow unfamiliar again. Let the Spirit teach you from within. Because once your eyes are opened, you will never read the parables the same way again. You will find yourself inside them, not as an observer, but as a participant. You are the soil, the seed, the seeker, and the found treasure. You are the house being swept clean, the lamp being lit, the heart being restored. You are never merely reading stories about others. You are reading the story of your own soul. So take a breath. Let the noise fade. Listen not with your ears, but with your spirit. The same voice that once spoke on the shores of Galilee still speaks now, beneath the surface of every word, waiting for hearts ready to understand. And when you do, when you finally recognize the presence that has always been with you, everything changes. The parables cease to be ancient tales. They become living realities. The kingdom is no longer somewhere else. It unfolds within and around you. And as you awaken, you will see that you were never separated from the divine at all. You were always part of the story God has been telling since the beginning. The story now asking to be lived through you. If you're still here, it's not by accident. You're not just curious, you're remembering. Something inside you recognizes this language, like an echo from before time began. You're part of the few who sense that what Jesus spoke in parables wasn't merely moral teaching, but an invitation into awakening. Across centuries, beneath suppression and misunderstanding, this current of remembrance has flowed quietly, waiting for souls like yours to hear the call again. You feel it, even if you can't explain it. And this moment, this listening, is the response. So stay, not for information, but for transformation. Share this message, not to promote a voice, but to help others who are still lost in the noise. Every time this truth is spoken, it sends out a signal through the fog of distraction, reaching those whose hearts are ready. Subscribe not for entertainment, but to remain in the current, because what's coming next isn't another story, it's activation. Let's begin with a simple image. A merchant searching for fine pearls. He finds one of incomparable worth, sells everything he owns, and buys it. For generations, people have said this means heaven is worth every sacrifice. True, but only on the surface. The deeper revelation is far more intimate. The merchant is your awakened consciousness, the part of you that has searched across lifetimes, experiences, and desires for the one truth that would make everything else make sense. And the pearl of great price? It isn't an object to possess. It's the moment of recognition. The instant awareness awakens to itself. The kingdom of heaven, Jesus said, is like a merchant finding a pearl, not the pearl itself. Because the treasure isn't outside you. It is the realization that the one who searches and the one being sought are the same. When you truly see this, striving stops. You recognize that you were never separate from divine love, that you don't have to earn or chase it. The pearl is the awareness through which you breathe right now, the consciousness witnessing this moment. The same awareness that pulsed through Jesus as He healed and forgave. The same light glimpsed by mystics through ages. You've been searching for God while being carried by God the entire time. You've been seeking the kingdom while living within it. You've been trying to find yourself while never truly being lost. But if this is true, why doesn't it always feel that way? Why does life still hurt, confuse, and divide? The next parable reveals why. A man sows good seed in his field, but while he sleeps, an enemy comes and scatters weeds among the wheat. When both grow, the servants want to pull out the weeds, but the master says, "No, wait until harvest, then separate them." The common interpretation speaks of good and evil people coexisting until Judgment Day. Yet the deeper layer isn't about others. It's about the inner landscape of your soul. You are the field. The wheat is your divine essence, the image of God within you. The weeds are the false identities, the fears, wounds, and patterns that make you forget who you are. And the enemy who planted them? It wasn't a demon, it was you. Before this incarnation, before memory, you chose to experience separation so you could know unity. You chose darkness so you could understand light. You planted forgetfulness so that remembering would mean something. Without contrast, there can be no recognition. Without shadow, light cannot reveal itself. So your limitations aren't punishment, they are practice. Every fear, every doubt, every heartbreak has been a classroom for awakening. The tears and the wheat grow together because both serve your becoming. The task isn't to destroy your shadow, but to integrate it, to see how even your pain has been preparing you for wholeness. Think about the parts of yourself you've been trying to fix or hide. The anger, the insecurity, the exhaustion. What if they aren't defects but invitations? What if your sensitivity is the doorway to compassion? What if your sorrow is a deep call to connection? What if your anger, rightly directed, is sacred fire meant to protect what's holy? You are not broken. You are in the process of remembering completeness. The weeds don't ruin the field, they reveal its depth. And once you begin to see that, another parable unfolds naturally. No one lights a lamp and hides it under a basket. They place it on a stand, so it shines for everyone in the house. Many say this means don't be ashamed of your faith, but the lamp is more than belief. It is you. You are the lamp. Your awareness, your divine spark, is meant to illuminate. The basket, the covering, is every story you tell yourself about why you can't shine. I'm not ready. I'm not holy enough. I'm not trained. People will judge me. These are not humble thoughts. They are rebellion against the truth of who you are. When Jesus said, "You are the light of the world," he wasn't speaking metaphorically. He was revealing a fact of being. Your consciousness, when awake, radiates. It brightens every heart it touches. But most of us hide beneath layers of conditioning and fear. We dim ourselves to be accepted. We silence our gifts to avoid responsibility. We play small to belong. And in doing so, we not only diminish ourselves, we deprive the world of the light it needs most. Your authenticity isn't arrogance, it's obedience. Your full expression isn't vanity, it's vocation. The divine didn't place its image in you to keep it buried under shame. It gave you that light to share. Every time you speak truth, create beauty, forgive, or love without condition, your lamp rises higher on the stand. And when you live that way, others see their own light reflected in yours. The world doesn't need another dim candle. It needs your full radiance. So pause for a breath. Feel the heartbeat within you, steady and ancient. That pulse is not just yours. It's the same rhythm that moves galaxies. Let it remind you, the kingdom is not coming later. It's already unfolding wherever you awaken to love. The parables were never meant to make you small. They were meant to restore your sight. Each story carries a whisper. You are the soil and a seed, the pearl and the merchant, the lamp and the light itself. Once you see this, you can't unsee it. Once you feel it, you can't go back to pretending you're less than divine. And from that realization comes responsibility, the call to live awake, to embody the love that created you. That's the real activation, not escaping the world, but illuminating it from within. Stay with this journey. Let every word become a mirror for your own remembering. Because what comes next isn't just revelation, it's transformation. The codes are unlocking. The light is rising. And you are always part of it. It needs you at full brightness. Every gift you've hidden, every truth you've swallowed, every ounce of love you've withheld. Now is the moment to let them rise. Feel into it. What would it be like to finally take the basket off your light? To stop apologizing for being magnificent? To allow your life to blaze so openly that it gives others permission to do the same. This isn't ego, it's devotion. Because the greatest service you can offer the world is to become who you truly are, completely. But here's the reality. When you begin to live from that fullness, not everyone celebrates. Light exposes. And when you shine without restraint, it stirs both awe and discomfort in those still afraid of their own radiance. That's why Jesus gave one final image, a parable for those ready to stand when everything else falls. Two men build houses, one on sand, one on rock. The storms come. One stands firm, the other collapses. You've heard this before. Build your life on faith, not the world. But beneath that simple version lies a deeper transmission. You are both builders. Your whole life, you've been constructing two versions of yourself. One is built on the sand of appearance, the self that needs approval, applause, security, and control. That self depends on others' opinions to feel safe. It measures worth by status and comfort. The other is built on the rock of inner knowing, the self that stands even when everything else shakes. It listens to God's whisper in the silence. It trusts truth more than reputation. It draws strength from a source that can't be taken away. And here's what Jesus was warning you about. The storms aren't coming. They're already here. Every illusion of stability, every structure built on pride or fear is being tested. The systems that promise safety are trembling. The idols of success, control, and comfort are crumbling. Yet this isn't destruction, it's revelation. The storm doesn't arrive to punish you, but to expose what's real. It separates the false from the true, the temporary from the eternal. You are living in the great unveiling, the time when consciousness itself is awakening, when what was hidden in darkness is brought into light. Those who've built on sand will be forced to rebuild. Those who've built on rock will stand unshaken. That's why you're here. That's why this message found you. Somewhere deep inside, you felt the tremors. You've sensed that life as you knew it no longer fits. Something in you is calling for what's more solid, more authentic, more real. You are being invited to build again, but this time on truth. Feel into your foundation. Where have you placed your trust? In the approval of others or in the quiet authority of your own soul? In external success or inner peace? In what the world declares you are, or in what God calls you in the stillness? The storms reveal the answer. If life feels shaken, it's because your true self is trying to emerge. You are being freed from illusions that can no longer hold you. And here lies the final code. This parable was never about two different men. It's about two stages of one journey, your journey. First, you build on sand because that's all you've known. Then the winds rise and sweep away what cannot last. And in the ruins, you find what was there all along, the rock beneath your feet. That rock is Christ consciousness within you, the unshakable presence of God in your core. You are not the fragile house. You are the foundation itself. Your divine nature doesn't collapse. It endures. Now is the time to build from that place. You've walked through the storm, and what remains is real. We have decoded the hidden maps that have waited in plain sight. Parables that were never meant to stay on a page, but to awaken the soul. Not everyone will understand. But if you're still here, it's because you were meant to. You are part of something rising, something luminous, the awakening that spans the earth, the remembering that reconnects heaven and humanity. If you feel the pull, honor it. You didn't stumble across this message by chance. It sought you out. Let it remind you who you are, the light of the world, built not on fear, but on eternal truth. Let that light shine without apology, without hesitation. Share it, not for attention, but to guide those still wandering in shadow. The codes are already unlocking. The kingdom isn't far away. It's within you, waiting to be revealed. So stand tall in the storm. Remember the rock beneath your feet, and let your light, unhidden and unafraid, reveal the glory that has always been yours.